Before I came to London, my goal was to get past the semifinals. So I'm just glad to be in the semifinals today.
The beginning started off a little rough, but I figured out what the problem was and fixed it. So I'm glad to be in the semifinals now.
Playing against the #1 seed going to be tough, but I think it's going to be tough for them too.
It's my first time here. I just want to win. I don't care who we play. I just want to win.
You know, the Final Four, the World Cup of Pool is we're all the best pool players in the world. So it'll be an interesting day.
And then there were 4. 32 teams started out on Tuesday, dreaming of lifting the trophy. We are down to 4 contenders now. A little bit later on, China and Austria, as you heard Alex Lely and Nick Bright talking there, a clear favourite in that one. China have been the best team consistently throughout the first 5 days of this event. This semi-final, a little bit more open, a little bit more even. Both teams have had their struggles. Both teams have hit the heights when they need to. And I guess it's just a case of who can just find another level to their game. Will it be the defending champions here who've won the lag, Chinese Taipei, or will the Americans, who've stuttered and spluttered once in a while, but have come alive when they needed to, will they move on to a final? And it'll be a first final in 9 years for the man on the right of the American team there, Shane Van Boening. He won this event back in 2008 with Rodney Morris. So Chinese Taipei to break in our first semi-final.
And immediately the wing ball down, and looks to be there may be a shot on the 1 ball. This is the key. This lag, often an overlooked part of 9-ball. It sort of happens and nobody pays attention to it. However, in this case, winner breaks if you can put a few on the board. You heard Alex Lely talking about 3-packs, 4-packs. What he means by that is stringing 3, 4, 5 racks together while your opponent stews in their seats. So that's very important in an all or nothing match here in our semifinals of the World Cup of Pool.
Ted, that is a great point you just made about the importance of winning the lag, which means you get to break first. And we have noticed significantly all teams yesterday were paying a lot more attention to that lag. Everybody was on or around the rail. It wasn't just hit it and see what happens. They know that if you win the lag, you could be 3 or 4 racks up, or if you lose it, you could be 3 or 4 in arrears.
So much of this game is psychological. Another interesting facet here as we look at our 4 semifinal teams. We often talk about how the World Cup of Pool is set up in a format where anything can happen, where, you know, disasters just around every corner. And yet, look at our semifinals. This is as good as it gets in pool. Oh.
Well, he hadn't got good position on that pink 4. He was given a little bit of a problem there, and the price has been paid.
But you fancied him to get that, and the man who was a total rock yesterday in Chinese Taipei's victory over Japan is the one with the first mistake.
Yes, more difficult than it needed to be, but as you say, Ted, very makeable. And in a World Cup semi-final, you better make shots like that. So Chinese Taipei, the defending champs, the #1 seeds, they make the first error, and it gives Shane Van Boening and young Skylar Woodward a chance to jump out into an early lead. A gift that they wouldn't have expected when they'd looked at the run of balls off the break. So this is a bonus for them.
This will be a great start for the USA. They didn't win the lag, and Chinese Taipei had a wide open table, but they handed it over. And this is what you have to do. Capitalize immediately on your opponent's mistake. Get out to an early lead and put your opponent on the defensive. And And everybody who follows pool knows Shane Van Boening, when he gets his nose near the finish line, he usually gets there.
And it's Skylar Woodward with the 9 that puts Team USA on the board first in this opening semi-final. Of the 2 we have scheduled in this afternoon session, still a race to 9. The final tonight becomes a race to 10. And it's the number 5 seeds take the lead on the number 1 seeds. Well, the positional play wasn't ideal. You would have expected that to have gone down, so you can put that down as a proper team error, can't you?
Yes, that's right. It was the positional play, and yeah, you might have a tendency to blame Chang for missing that, but he could have had a better shot given to him by his partner, Ko.
Yeah, Chang could have made it, should have made it. Ko could have done a lot better with the positional play. And I guess that's why they're not beating each other up too much at the moment. There's a bit of blame to go around there. Now, these 2 couldn't care less. What they're going to have to do is minimize their mistakes. They've had some sloppy play. Skylar Woodward, in particular, surprising in that semi-final yesterday. He'd been so good in the first and second round. He had an awful first 3 or 4 racks. Well, you heard him in his pre-match interview there saying, yep, I worked out what the problem was and I fixed it. Very businesslike and down to earth, and he did. He settled very, very well in that match.
That's the sign of a true pro, when they can make the adjustments in big-time matches. Great break shot there by parking that cue ball down.
Now, the one rattled in and around the jaws of the side pocket, didn't drop, and I'm just wondering if he's got anything that he can work with here. Obviously, he can see the 1 ball. Can he put a combination shot? Can he play safe? There's the answer.
That's it. Just marry up that cue ball to the blue 2. Simple safety.
Which brings these 2 back up to the table. Ko and Cheng Yulong. Ko, the slightly taller man of the 2. And both of them having a good look. Ko just having a quick look at the shot clock there. They are allowed an extension, of course, and they will take that extension early here, because this is a big pressure shot here in this second rack. Get this right, you stay alive in it. Get it wrong, you may well give up the table. There is some positional play needed here with the 3 and the 4 ball up against that top rail. Now, that looks like the kind of shot that Skylar Woodward might think, you know what, let's have a go at this. Let's see if he will.
He did a great job there, but look out for the scratch.
Oh, shot. Ball in hand.
What a fantastic pot. Very little room to get that 1 ball through, and unfortunately, the cue ball kicks into the side pocket, and yes, that is a headache. Ball in hand now for Chinese Taipei.
So ball in hand on this 2. Then they can go up to that top rail and take care of business up there. Then the rack should be theirs if they get this right.
And that had nothing to do with the fact that it was whether that was a good or bad safety from Chinese Taipei. Just unlucky. Yesterday, Nick, we saw Chinese Taipei race out to a 9-2 victory over Japan, and you would think with that kind of score line that it was a lot of break and run, break and run. Indeed, it wasn't. They only had 2 break and run outs in that match, and they played some excellent safeties and were able to win various safety battles. And that's really how you do it in 9-ball. I mean, it's one thing to get on that streak, which doesn't happen often, where you string racks together. But when you're winning via safeties, you know you're playing at the top of your game.
We saw it time and again in that win over Japan, didn't we, Ted? Safety battle. There was only going to be one winner over and over again. They just totally controlled their opponents. But still work to be done here, though, for Chinese Taipei. So pick your pocket.
We'll be going in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yep. And that will set up, you would think, the rest of the rack. Yeah, they had a really good looking all-round game yesterday, Chinese Taipei, for the first time. And you could say about Chinese Taipei, the Americans and Austria, that it's been fits and starts. They've found ways to win to get to this point in the competition, where China have just simply obliterated anybody who's got in their path. I think the smart money is on a Chinese win here if they continue that form into today. The other three teams all very capable as well. So the misfortune from Skylar Woodward, the terrific pot followed by the scratch, has put Chinese Taipei on the board. Now there's errors and then there's, as you say, Ted, bad luck, and this certainly falls into the latter category here. Terrific pot, and then you get that off the back end.
Well, maybe it's following a similar pattern, Nick, in that we've seen from Skylar Woodward. Start out a bit slow, a few mistakes, and then get it together a quarter of the way into the match and kick it into high gear and take it to the finish line. Not going to be a guarantee on that today, because the opponent, the defending champions, the only thing going for against the defending champions, everybody knows they could very well take this crown, but no team has ever repeated in the World Cup of Pool. This is the 11th edition of this great tournament. Never a repeat champion. Back to back.
Taipei to break.
And Ted Lerner is on record as saying Chinese Taipei will not break that streak. Here they are in the final four. Ted, getting nervous yet?
Luckily, I didn't have a very large wager on that.
It's just your reputation.
Yeah.
Wing ball down, one ball down.
Oh, this is...
Oh, hang on, where's that three going now? That's going to be the challenge here, to get position onto that three. So if they can secure this two, take the cue ball down the table, they will be in business. Bit of traffic to negotiate as well, so this is the challenging shot, getting position. Well, let's see what Koping Yi, the man whose positional play caused a problem previously, and he's got to put he's done that just about in front of the pocket. Looked like it might have scratched. Now it was always a positional shot with a degree of difficulty in it. Now for Chang, who is surveying the table, he's got to decide whether he's going to go for this or play it safe. How ambitious does he feel? How smart is he prepared to play? And there's the answer. Looking for safety.
This is going to be so big today. Who wins the battle of safeties?
Well, yesterday it was so easy for Chinese Taipei. That was an area of weakness in the Japanese game that they found and exploited.
Extension called.
Let's see what the defensive game of the Americans looks like. Out comes Shane Van Boning's short stick.
Well, it's to hope he doesn't jump this thing off the table.
Well, that is a big risk. He's having another look at this.
He's really going to have to control this cue ball, because this thing could fly right off that three and over the table. Oh no, that is so unlucky.
Good grief. Same pocket. back-to-back scratches then for the Americans like that.
Start the clock, please.
In that same pocket, that little nudge off the pink 4, and as you say, Ted, there's mistakes and there is rank bad luck, and that was horrible for the Americans. But ball in hand for Chinese Taipei, and I think with this spread of balls we know exactly what that means.
That sort of thing that happens, you just have to shake it off. Mistakes happen in pool. It's part of the game. Luck, bad luck. It's not really his fault at all. He knows.
And luck balances out in this game as well. They've had a couple of kicks in the backside here, the Americans, so they can expect something in return a little bit later on. So Chinese Taipei riding their luck a little bit here, but nothing lucky about that shot on that positional play.
I've always wondered about that, Nick. Does luck balance itself out? I don't think so.
As a player, you have to believe that, don't you?
Well, yeah, you certainly. If you're going to play this sport, you better have a positive attitude. Yeah, you have to believe that it will. That's a debate for the pub, isn't it? Does luck balance itself out?
Yeah. That's going very existential, actually. Let's get back to the real world of 9-ball here.
Well, I've had lots of discussions after the tournament about 9-ball. It does get pretty heavy and deep sometimes, Nick, as you know. In this sport, it just never ends. The permutations and the would-haves, could-haves, should-haves. So this is what you do after your opponent fouls. You run out.
Just like that, Chinese Taipei benefiting from a pair of American scratches, both of which had an element of misfortune about them. But as Ted says, that's what you do. Your opponent give you something, you say thank you very much and take it. You don't care how you get it. 2-1 in this race to 9 and a place in the World Cup of Pool final. China and Austria to come. Seeds 1, 2, 3 and 5 in the final 4. Doesn't often pan out like that. There's usually a dark horse pops up out of nowhere. Not this year. They've been well and truly put in their place. All the various contenders. People talked about Russia. People looked at Finland. There's a Germany seeded 14. Real quality partnerships, but they've not been able to upset the seedings. The top teams have risen to the final 4. Now, who can take the next step?
So the first 3 racks, first rack a mistake by Chinese Taipei, a scratch, and then 2 scratches in the subsequent 2 racks for the USA. So it's been filled with mistakes so far. 8-ball is down in the corner, and there's a long open shot on the 1.
And Chang is pondering his options here. It's not whether you take it on. He is going to take it on. Which pocket do you fancy? Well, maybe he should have gone the other way. Easy to be wise after the event.
Well, he went that way for the position on the blue 2, which is lined up. Unfortunately for him, the yellow 1 ball didn't drop, and they've left it on for the USA. So here, an error. You want to see yourself in the final, you must convert here.
Nicely set up middle of the table there. to attack the 3. Position pretty easy to establish on the 4 as well.
Everything in the open, no problems.
Delicately played there. You know, he's not a rah look at me type of guy, is he, Shane Van Boening? And you know him well, but you just wonder what it would mean to him to be able to lift this again for the 2nd time in his career.
It would be a huge victory, and
Extension called.
also somewhat vindication. Shane takes a lot of heat for his less than stellar Mosconi Cup performances. Some people saying that he's not a team player. I think really with Shane, it's more of a case of maybe the people around him put too much expectation on what he should do, on being a leader, and rather than just, you know, Shane, he grew up, you can see he's got a hearing aid. Shane is actually partially deaf. And he's always been a bit of an outsider. Shane doesn't really socialize too much with other players off the table. It's, you know, in the sport of pool, it's a very sociable atmosphere. Shane is often missing from that. So, you know, you just got to let Shane be Shane. He can't put too much expectation on his shoulder. He's got a great partner here this week in Skylar Woodward. These two get along really well.
Well, they got rid of that rack pretty well. The partnership working in tandem there. And yeah, Skylar Woodward, who is young, was hand-picked, I believe, by Van Boening to come and join him for this tournament. So those two, after the miss, well, as you said, Ted, they had to get 2 elements right. You had to get the pot and you had to get position. Part 2 was perfect, just missed the pot. And that gave the table to America. And we're already seeing here the level of competition. If you leave something, the other team's going to come in and say, thank you very much, we'll take that.
So can Team USA now, after several mistakes, tie score, can they turn it up a notch as they've done over the last few days in their road to this semifinal? Certainly Shane Van Boening loves this format. Winner breaks.
Well, the table continues to break pretty well. Yeah, and that's a nice spread as well.
Hello.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the next rack? That developed beautifully, didn't it?
This is the chance right here for Team USA to apply a little gas, put the foot on the pedal a little bit. Everything sitting out there beautifully for the Americans.
Just going back to Van Boening and some of the criticism he's received, were there raised eyebrows when he championed the cause of young Skylar Woodward here as well? Were there some discussions that a more experienced hand should come in? I mean, Van Boening knew who he wanted.
You're always going to have your detractors. You certainly can't please everybody. Shane, again, you have to do your best. He wants to be comfortable. And if Shane is comfortable, that's a great thing. He's one of the top 3 players in the world. Have your pick if you think he could be the best in some people's eyes. Some people think Ko is the best. Ko beat him in 2015 in the finals of the World 9-Ball Championship. Ko there on the right.
So many contenders, aren't there, right now? The man who's played as well as anybody this week is Wu Chao-ching, the former world champion. And then you've got Albin Ocean here, the Austrian, the current world champion. So many great players.
This is clinical, Nick.
But it needed to be, Ted. Let's face it. Once those balls had settled down, you looked at it and went, well, sorry, this is the kind of rack you've got to clean up if you want to win a World Cup of Pool semi-final. And that's what they've done. There were no challenges here. It was a pretty routine run of balls and done with a minimum of fuss. The Americans in front 3-2 in this race to 9. Now you'll take breaks like that all day long if you can get them, because that's what it meant, that rack. It was all off this break.
And Shane's a real student of the break shot as well. He actually will look at the rack sometimes, see how the referee racked them, and if he sees certain gaps, he actually knows which way the ball is going based on the gaps that he sees, and then how he hits it. So not everybody can do that. He reads racks.
Meanwhile, these two sitting and waiting. They won't be too concerned at a 3-2 scoreline. What we're not seeing at the moment, and it could happen at any time, is a team going on a 3-4-5 rack tear up. Now, if that were to happen here for the Americans, they just put one in the bank. Woodward's certainly looking very happy with the way this is developing. That'll cause some concern for Chinese Taipei. They're breaking well, both teams. It's only a matter of time before one of them, you think, puts together a 4-pack.
Well, if you're rooting for Team USA, it certainly bodes well. See how relaxed they are, chatting with each other, having a nice laugh.
Uh-oh. Somehow it stayed up. I thought, not again. Is it going to be a third scratch for the Americans? It came perilously close. But it does limit your options, to say the very least. There it is. There's the black chasing it in, and somehow that's defied gravity. I'll tell you, they better walk very carefully around this table. You tread too heavily, that ball's going to drop. But severely limited options, to say the least. Push out being one of them, of course.
Eyeing a kick shot. Although it depends on how deep the ball is in the pocket, whether he has any kind of shot. That may limit the angle, so I don't know if he can do a kick shot.
And I must admit, at first glance, Ted, that looked pretty deep.
Push out call.
Yeah, it's kind of inevitable that you got to go for the push. So Chinese Taipei will now survey the table, decide, yes, we'll have some of that, we can find safety, or say, don't like the look of that one a little bit, and throw it back. They don't look hugely enthusiastic to deal with this. Let's see. Chang in particular doesn't seem to be particularly enamored with the lay of the balls here.
They're running out of time.
Extension call.
They've used their extension and they're not even sure they're going to shoot.
That would be a waste.
But they are going to shoot.
But clearly not with any huge enthusiasm. Well, he's got to keep an eye on the clock now. We're down to 10 seconds. Yeah, he's okay. He's had a glance at that. So both extensions gone, and that's got to find safety. It's drifted down towards the rail, but he certainly hasn't found safety, and Van Boning was on that pretty quick. And yeah,
did you see that?
Oh yeah.
Why not take a crack at it?
Schuyler pointed the way there.
They're going to take a crack at the 9 ball. Have to hit the object vault first, and after that, anything goes.
Nice carom, beautifully done. Big shot. Schuyler Woodward basically sets fire to this match. A big shot, daylight between the teams, 4-2, momentum with the Americans. Well, you want vision. Schuyler Woodward saw this shot early, didn't he? Pointing the way, and Shane's going, okay, you see it, you take it. That was terrific from the younger man. No, it's not all about just being directed and told which way to go. Woodward is certainly able to make a major contribution to this American teamwork. And that puts Team USA 4-2 up on the defending champions. Later on, China v Austria 2v3. The two winners meet tonight in our final.
Did you see Shane Van Boning? How excited he was?
Oh,
Don't tell me he's not a great team player. Very impressive from Shane and his partner Schuyler Woodward. This is a chance to really get control of the match. Wing ball down, and it looks like they will have a shot on the 1.
Well, this is worst scenario stuff really for Chinese Taipei. As let's take another look at this break with the wing ball going, and as you say, a shot on the 1. We knew at 2-2 one of these teams was capable of going on a 4-5 rack tear. Well, America's got 2 in the bag now already. This would be 3 if they sink this lot. Not a good place to be if you're Chinese Taipei right now, because the Americans have definitely caught fire.
Oh, that worked out well. Nicely done to control the cue and the 2 ball. Well, we did say it, Nick, at 2-2. This was the moment that Shane talked about in the pre-match interview about putting the 3 and 4 pack on Chinese Taipei, running racks.
Look at what happened yesterday. Chinese Taipei, Japan 2-2. That match finished 9-2. Japan never got back up after 2-2. This one was 2-2. And it's all running the Americans' way. China had the Filipinos sat in their chairs virtually the whole match. Rack after rack after rack. If you get this table and you get a reasonable run, and remember, the Americans have had some bad luck in this match already, but if you get a decent run, and if you continue to make your shots, you can put a lot up on the board very quickly. Van Boning taking his extension for this. He's got to make sure he doesn't make contact with that 8. He's nowhere near it, and getting position for the 5. Crucial. Nicely done.
Americans also playing at a very good pace.
Yeah, brisk without being rushed. You know, we've seen some teams, Austria in particular, they slow it down to a crawl, don't they? That's the rhythm that they want. Slow and steady. The Americans, you say, getting on with it. China tend to play pretty brisk as well. But this is a very, very comfortable looking rack again. And it's looking like 3 in a row for USA, the number 5 seeds. Just like that.
Yeah, from 2-1
they
down.
were 2-1 down, yeah.
Now 5-2, 4 in a row. This is exactly what was on offer. Shane Van Boening said, we know what to do. We got to run the packs on them.
Meanwhile, 2-1 up. Not had much of a look since that battle in the fourth rack went against them. Since then, though, 3 very impressive racks in a row from the USA. When you're in this position, as Chinese Taipei are, you just have to wait for your chance, and you've got to stay in the game, because if you do get an opportunity, you must take it. But this is where Japan were against Chinese Taipei yesterday, and every time they came up to the table, it seemed like they were digging themselves out of a huge hole. They just never got back into it, Japan, and that's the fear that Chinese Taipei will have here. I mean, they can't keep breaking this well, the Americans. They're going to create something, you would think, for Chinese Taipei to get back to this table.
They're very loose
Rack 8,
and relaxed.
USA to break, leading 5 racks to 2.
They're in the perfect position right now. Everything going the way of the Americans. Look at that. Oh, he got it. Kicked the cue ball. That is so unlucky, because other than that, it was a beautiful break shot from Skylar Woodward. Watch the cue ball get kicked after being parked right in the middle of the table. And you can see what he's doing. Make the wing ball, bring that one back off 2 rails, park the cue ball in the middle, but in that case, unlucky to get the cue ball kicked in. So now the shoe is on the other foot. It is time for Chinese Taipei to put a 3-pack on the Americans. If they don't do it, this match will be over quickly.
Well, this is certainly a pretty comfortable ease in. You have to feel so sorry for Skylar Woodward. I mean, it wasn't just one kick, it was 2 balls combining to just divert that cue ball the way it did. As a total fluke. Rank bad luck. They've had more than their share of that in this match. Don't expect a sympathy card from Chinese Taipei. Well, this is just what they needed, and isn't it amazing how quickly the direction of a 9-ball pool match can take a very strange swerve. That's what's happened here. A scratch off the break from USA, complete fluke. Can't blame Skylar Woodward one little bit. I mean, just look at it. This is 2 balls combining just to there, the double hit, directing it straight into that corner pocket.
Again, did you notice the 1 ball coming back? And that's all by design. Skylar wants that 1 ball coming back, so it's there for the opening shot after the wing ball goes down. That's the recipe. But in that case, a bit of bad luck.
So, back come Chinese Taipei for their first break in quite a while. Just 2 in arrears, that can be erased very quickly. Ooh, that took a big jump, that cue ball. Where's that going?
Oh, shot. Ball in hand.
A scratch on the break just at the last second. And there wasn't a wing ball down that time, and just at the last second, the 1 gets nudged in, but at the same time, the cue ball. So now, ball in hand.
And that got a kick as well, incidentally. That didn't just roll there of its own volition.
Let's see. We have to get a close-up of that 2 ball. We could be looking at a lockdown safety here.
Extension called.
He's going to leave that 2 right there, locked in with that 7. Has to hit a rail.
That should be straightforward, you would think. What's he got? Can he just see a sliver of that? It's going to be wafer thin. No, nothing there, is there?
So it'll be up and back down. And the worry here for Chinese Taipei is that, yeah, he'll probably hit it, but he may not even know what's going to happen afterwards. Could leave an open shot.
Delicately done, but did he just open it up? I mean, he couldn't have played it much better. Really delicate touch there, but just nudging that 7 out of the way. And that's the result.
That was always the problem there. That's why you play a lockdown safety. This is what Chinese Taipei did to Japan yesterday. Safe, get your opponent to make a mistake, and then clear. This is a big rack here, Nick.
Needs to avoid that. He's managed to nudge it out of the way. That's good.
Because the way the Americans have been playing, they are clearly confident that they can get that break shot down. But they can continue shooting after the break. So you're looking here at 6-3 with the break in a race to 9. Wow, they are going to be in a very strong position, the USA.
And they've made some terrific shots to get themselves in this position as well. Chinese Taipei just haven't spent enough time at the table. Positional shot needed here.
Just so solid.
Yeah, they are in a good position here, aren't they? Van Boning. Center pocket. USA 6-3 to the good. They win another safety duel. And even with the luck that's been stacked against them, they are in complete control of our first semi-final. 6-3, they lead. In the UK capital, London, in the East End, the heat is going up on Chinese Taipei as well, because they are trailing 6-3 to the United States in this first semi-final. When you consider that they've had 3 scratches, the Americans, they've had some lousy luck to be 6-3 up. It really does give you an idea of the kind of pool that they've been playing throughout this match.
Shane Van Boning, when it comes to the break shot, one of the best in the business.
Are you just trying to jinx the guy here or what?
Well, that was a great break shot, but there you see the technique. Wing ball's going to go down. 1 comes back up table. Hopefully you park the cue ball in the middle, and the percentages are telling you that you will get a shot on the 1. In this case, no. But that's the technique.
Dry break. Another bad slice of misfortune.
Oh, they didn't even get the wing ball there. How about that?
I'm saying you jinxed him. You jinxed him, Ted.
Well, I'm just so used to the wing ball.
Yeah.
What's it been, 90%?
Yeah.
You assume sometimes that it's going to go down.
The dry breaks have been so rare. And not only that, you've got a pretty much total eclipse on the 1 ball as well. It couldn't have been much worse.
Wow.
They've had every bit of bad luck going, the Americans.
Push out called.
Well, all sorts of options here. Just take it down there now.
Start the bubbles.
Now you can it's a general rule of thumb, Ted, isn't it? You know, push out. If you can see the whole ball, you'll take it. And there's lots of long grass on this table to go and hide in as well. This would be a surprise if they toss this one back, but it will be their choice.
No, I think they're going to take it.
Yeah, it'd be crazy not to. Got no problem at all with contact and lots of opportunities to go and play hide and seek. And depending on how this pans out, I mean, they may get lucky here, Chinese Taipei, but that wasn't the most daunting push out we've ever seen. That's
going to work out
nicely,
really
nicely.
Wow.
I tell you what, Ted, I'm going to be honest, because at first I was looking at that thinking, oh, he's overhit that, but he hadn't. He'd hit that perfectly. I thought he was trying to get down on the rail. He wasn't. He knew exactly what he was going for there, Woodward. He is nailing some shots today, Skylar Woodward. Just look at this. I just think now that's got to do quite a bit of work, and it's just finished to perfection.
Boy, this is going to be hard to hit. Oh, he's got the jump cue out now.
So Chang jacking up here for a big shot. He's made contact. What's he going to get now? Is he going to get the luck to go with it? Well, they can see the one. That's the good news for the Americans. Well, these were the duels that Chinese Taipei were winning time and time again yesterday against Japan. Here they're chasing and chasing and chasing, and they're still.
Well, he's left that open.
Ooh, has he? Yes, he has. You're right. You're right.
Not sure if it goes to a pocket or if it just will be a safe. Wow, that's a thin gap there.
Well, if it goes, surely 6-3 down, you've got to take it on. Oh,
what a shot. Now, after that terrific shot, that could be a game changer. Something that gets them back into this match. It's on to the blue too. But what about that red 3?
Yeah, position the key here.
Well, that should go. Might send the 9 ball over towards the pocket as well.
It might make that 9 ball move around a little bit. Make sure of avoiding the foul as well. It should be okay. Oh,
man.
Come on. Where are these shots coming from?
Well, it didn't go in that corner, and he played it up there. That is amazing. Very hard to tell which corner. If it would. Wow. That is daring. And position on the pink 4. They are not going to go down without a fight here. This is clear. Some very good shot making from Ko Pin Yi in this rack. 2 really long, daring pots.
There's 2 absolutely sizzling shots from Chinese Taipei in this rack. And they are back in business. I mean, Van Boning didn't leave him much. There was only one narrow channel to punch that one ball through. And the way Ko just dispatched it, and then that outrageous bank on the 3 from Chang. Well, they might have been sat in their seats a long time, but they certainly haven't gone cold. Both of them coming up with absolutely high-class shots. No wonder they're happy. No wonder the smiles are back. Ko started it. Chang carried it on. I mean, there's only one shot here. This has to be perfect, and it was. And then likewise.
That's great pot right there.
So, how long are they going to be stuck there? 6-4.
Well, you got the other guy who's considered a phenomenal breaker, Ko Pin-yi, but I believe it's it might be Chang's turn to break. No, it'll be Ko. Okay.
So a rare dry break, don't forget, from Van Boning last time up.
Another student of the break shot.
Rack 11, Chinese Taipei to break, trailing 4 racks to 6.
So he will be hoping to avoid the dry break. So let's watch closely and see if that one ball stays on the table. Or the 3 ball rather, excuse me. That's the key ball, the red wing ball, the 3. You'd like the 1 in the side pocket as well.
Indeed it does, but there goes the cue ball.
Unbelievable.
Ball in hand.
How many scratches have we had in this match?
Start the clock, please.
Let's see, did it get kicked? Yes,
Yep.
it did. Yeah, he is. I don't think anybody controls the cue ball better than Ko Pin-yi. This guy practices this for hours and hours and hours. And he did indeed plant that cue ball down, but that's not something you can legislate for in this sport. It happens. The balls are flying all over the place, and it got kicked in.
Same old story, Ted. The luck is balancing out here. That was a huge break for the Americans. 6-4 back at the table. And everything looking pretty plain sailing in this 11th rack. Well, I've lost count of how many times we've seen the cue ball drop into a pocket in this match. And they've all been unexpected. I think we've had 3 scratches off the break, and there's certainly at least once more that a cue ball has gone down. And Skylar Woodward having an early one, making a really good shot, only to lose the cue ball.
There's a massive boost for Team USA. They were looking at Chinese Taipei staging that fight back, and this is getting them 2 away from a spot in the finals.
With Skylar Woodward due to break next. Yeah, Van Boning gratefully accepting the gift that they were given there. This time it's Chinese Taipei cursing their misfortunes. Nothing wrong with the break at all. He just stood that cue ball on its head, but then a rogue ball came along and said, guess where you're going? That 8 kicked it top right. Well, that was that. Well, that's how you have to do it. You have to be philosophical. So Skylar Woodward probably just trying to stay focused on exactly where he is, not thinking, oh yeah, we're only two racks away from the final here. You just have to play it. Isn't this true for anybody as well, Ted, in this business? Rack by rack. Don't start thinking, oh yeah, we'll do this, then we'll do that in the next rack. You've just got to take it as it comes.
Sometimes you can lose focus as you get
12,
closer to
USA
the
to
finish
break,
line and
leading
you have a
7
few
racks to
rack
4.
lead. Not advisable here. This is a winner breaks format. And one mistake can see you in the chair. Now this time he made the one. Wing ball went down. Or no, it did not. What's with that wing ball, Nick?
That's twice the Americans have missed the wing ball.
He's lucky that that one went down,
Yeah.
because I know Skyler normally plays for that one to come back up table, but this one worked out well for them.
They've got to get this 3 is the issue ball here. The slight hope for Chinese Taipei here is that they seem to be struggling with the wing ball now, both of them. Now that's well played. There's every chance here that the Americans will be on the hill. Well, they came into this one with so much confidence. I mean, that is an American trait, we know that. You always feel, you and your compatriots, you go into something, you're going to do well, you're going to succeed. When it was put to Skyler Woodward, oh boy, you're playing the #1 seeds and defending champions. Well documented what his answer was. Nope, they're playing us. You can understand where that belief has come from. They've played a very clever, controlled game here, and they've not allowed themselves to be put off by the bad luck that's come their way. It has balanced out, and they are close to the hill here and close to a return to the big stage in the World Cup of Pool.
Skyler is right where he wants to be, and that's with the leader, his leader, Shane Van Boening. These guys are making a great team. I don't think I've ever seen Shane playing Scotch doubles pool in which he's so happy. He's relaxed.
Well, he's smart, isn't he? He's picked a partner that he is comfortable with, that they've got some good chemistry, and it's worked well. They've had the luxury of being able to take their extension late in the rack here. And they've just got to play for position on that 9 ball. Dragging it back. And Woodward should get this. Needs to get it. Important 9 this. No problem at all. Well, they're 1 break away from a place in the final. USA, but don't forget, Shane Van Boening last time he came up to break, came up dry. That, frankly, right now might be the best hope that Chinese Taipei have of getting back into this match. They're on the hill, the USA, 8-4.
Generally, at this level, it comes down to who can put those packs together, string racks together. We'll have both teams. Inevitable mistakes are always part of the game.
Right, now all eyes on the wing ball.
I don't know what's going on. 2 times now we've
Exactly.
seen the wing ball not drop.
It's the pink 4.
Watch Shane have a look at this rack. You're not allowed to ask for a re-rack. You see how he's like looking in there? He's looking for certain gaps. He knows if he sees certain gap in a certain area, how to hit the ball,
Rack 13,
how to hit the cue
USA
ball
to
into
break,
the rack.
leading 8 racks to 4.
He makes adjustments based on what he just saw. Again, that is not something that a lot of players know how to do.
Wing ball down, 1 ball down. There's another ball has dropped somewhere as well. And the 2 up the rail.
That'll work.
It's looking very promising for Team USA here. And looking in the other corner, Ko Pin Yi just looked away. I think they know their hold on this trophy is very tenuous indeed. Chinese Taipei, the defending champions, on the brink of being eliminated here in the semi-final.
What a beautiful shot there. Nice touch.
So Van Boning just got to make sure of
Extension
giving
called.
his partner a position for a shot at the 5. If he can put this in a good spot for Woodward, this match is over. What about that?
And you get the feeling that whoever they play in the final, it's really just going to come down to 2 or 3 missed opportunities to determine who is the winner of the World Cup of Pool.
And don't forget the bad luck the Americans had to overcome early in this match as well. Chinese Taipei were never able to capitalize on the misfortunes of the Americans.
That's right. A couple of shots kicked in off the break. The cue ball scratching.
They could have been behind early here, the Americans chasing the game. Instead, they've always been comfortable.
What a performance from Team USA. It was 2-2, and they took it from there.
And it's Shane Van Boning who sends Team USA into the final of the World Cup of Pool. Chinese Taipei, the defending champions, the #1 seeds, are out. Team USA march on. What a moment for them, and you could see what it meant to Shane Van Boning. Delight. They'll be back at the York Hall in Bethnal Green later tonight when they'll be competing for a second trophy in American history, 9 years after Van Boning won the first one. The first semi-final is in the record books. USA have won it 9-4.
To the USA, but it didn't stop them. 2 foul breaks. There was 3 foul breaks in the match in total, which the commentary team pointed out was very, very interesting indeed. Successful breaks 6-3 to the USA. Average balls on break 1.3 to 1.0. Break and win rack 5-1. And I can say I'm pleased that Shane and Skylar are with me now. Shane, you were really pleased with that at the end. You let out a big cheer.
Oh man, I'm just happy to be in the final. Just you know, especially against the #1 seed. It's just unreal. You know, I'm proud of my partner too. So.
Yeah, because Skylar, when we spoke yesterday, you did say, "Come on, these guys are playing us. You know, they should be scared of us." And it seems you were proved right.
I was just saying it's going to be tough either way. It's tough for us. It's tough for them. You know, we're all great players.
It was an interesting match because we saw that there was a couple of foul breaks. You know, the white was getting away from you at times, but you guys kept your composure and you nailed the match.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest save that we have is that they weren't breaking very well. They had 2 foul breaks, and we put a couple packages together, and we came through the match.
Yeah, and Skylar, you played a great shot. I can't remember what rack it was off the top of my head, but you played a great carom shot and to sink the 9, and you were very pleased with that.
Yeah, shoot, I know. I thought it was a free shot. All I got to do is miss the 5 and hit the top of the 1. As long as I don't hit the left side, I don't think I could miss it. So, I mean, I thought I had to go for it, get us the game for sure.
Well, listen, congratulations on a great win. You guys are through to the final. We'll see you later on this evening.